was looking at my music because I think my foot hit it and it switched to some station I've never heard of. Hardy Radio? Oh, we're gonna try it, see what it is. I don't know. I was listening to the Piano Guys earlier. I think it's country music. That's okay. I like country. Some of it. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna talk about how to do your eyes today. And the attachment process onto the form is exactly the same, but I want to show you how to actually make them. There's a couple different ways you can go about it. Depends if you want it to be cartoony or you want it to be realistic. And then after that, the next video is just going to be of me putting all my pieces together. Because mine, remember, I made my claws and stuff and I needed them to set up and they're ready now. So this one will be eyes, and then I'll post it. And then after that, I'm just going to roll my camera and just showing you how I attach all my pieces that I have going on. And then after that, we'll need it to set up so it can move into the next stage of dryness, which is that leather hard stage. And then I'll talk about carving. So restrain yourself from carving. Some of the pictures that I've been seeing, there's carvings on your form and your clay's way too wet for that. So remember, we do carvings at the leather hard stage. So if you did already put those on there, just smooth them back out and be patient because we will get to it. But if you do it too soon, then you get all those crumbs and clay boogers, and we don't want that. So the other thing I want to say real quick, because I'm getting a lot of questions about this, is we need to create that air passage, and a lot of you are ready for this. So hopefully you remember to put your holes from each pinch pot to the next. If you did not do that, then you need to cut this in half and you need to do it, or else your product's going to explode, right? So from pinch pot to pinch pot, you had to have that hole. And then we need a final hole at the base. So we need a final airway. So I would just use your paintbrush, since that's what you have. Use your paintbrush handle, and on the base, you're just going to take this, poke all the way through your clay, and then widen it up a little bit. And that should be a good enough airway. Now in class, when I was seeing you, we talked about putting different airways in and incorporate them into the design. And if you want to do that, that's perfectly fine, but make sure you're going all the way through your clay. But to be on the safe side, just because you're brand new at this, I would still go ahead and put that hole at the bottom. But that's just, me being a little bit extra cautious. So remember, this is a past student. Remember, if you don't do that, then you are going to get this craziness happening here. So, and I know she won't care that I showed this. So we don't want your product to end up like that, right? So airways are super important. Okay, so I started this video and then I don't have my clay ready. So give me just a second. I'm gonna go get my clay. Sorry about that. I finally got this place cleaned up, so I was able to move back to my actual table that I work at. Although a lot of times I stand, so it's kind of weird sitting, but that's all right. All right, so again, we're gonna talk about different types of eyes. Here's my tail. I don't know if I'm gonna attach this anymore. I might not. So I'm putting clothes on my little alien creature guy, so the tail just might be too much. All right, I'm gonna switch the camera. I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna show you guys how to do different sets of eyes. So we'll talk about what mine are gonna look like if you're following along exactly the same creature I'm making, but if not, there's lots of different ways you can do this. I'm just gonna go over the most basic. So feel free to do some other research if you don't like the way that this is happening. So I'm gonna just make a flat piece of clay, and this is gonna represent like the form itself. So this is gonna this piece of flat clay is the mockly kind of representing the actual form itself that you're making. But I don't wanna put it on mine, just because then I would have to clean all that back up, and I don't really wanna have to do that. Okay, so if this is your ball, what you're gonna do is, you're gonna make a ball of clay. So you might have to do this a couple times depending on what size you want. And then you're gonna leave it round and you're gonna cut it in half. You can use your modeling tool, or if you have a butter knife or a steak knife, whatever, pocket knife, you could use that too. You can use your modeling tool, no big deal. So now it's flat on one side, and then we're gonna score and slip, of course, wherever 2 pieces of clay are touching. Super important, don't forget that. Woo. And I'm just gonna kind of press it a little bit. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a coil around this. Can this move in? No, sorry. I'll pick it up here in a second. So, I'm not gonna, you could score like this seam right here if you want to. You could score that. But this is such wet clay. It's not going anywhere. I know it's not. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take this foil, I'm gonna make it even smaller because that's still too big. So this is like if you wanna do like a really realistic eye. And this is, you can make them as big or as small as you want. So you would just adjust all the sizes of, you know, all the pieces that we're making here. Okay, and then I'm going to set this coil around that piece, so it looks like that. So what this coil is representing is it's representing like this part of the eye, right? So like that inner corner, that's basically what that's representing. And I know you're like, what? How does that work? Just trust me. And then I'm gonna take some more clay, I'm gonna make another coil, but I'm gonna leave it a little bit thicker because this is gonna act as the top and bottom eyelid. Now, when I say thicker, I mean the coil. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna thin my coil out. You know, you want it pretty skinny. You want it really thin. An eyelid is not thick. You know, and then if you need to, so that's, let's see. It's still pretty thick. So I'm gonna thin it out just a little bit more. You can also dip your fingers in water. I do that a lot too. Okay, so I know that this is way too big, but it's not a big deal. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay it at the bottom and I'm gonna kind of curve it up. I'm gonna leave a little bit on each side. Just like that. So this could either be the top or the bottom, whichever. And then I'm gonna make another piece the exact same way, and I'm gonna put it on the bottom edge. So make a coil. And you might have to do this a couple times. It probably will not work out the first time that you do it. That's okay. You got nothing but time. I'm just thinning out my coil. I'm gonna smooth this out. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. This still looks too thick to me. I'm gonna make this thinner. Woo! My clay's too wet. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing it up to the corner here, and I'm just kind of adjusting it to see how I want it to look. So this person looks really sleepy right now, so I'm gonna adjust that and bring this piece back up. Now, if your alien animal creature is sleeping, then more power to you. Also, you know, the way that you position this is gonna kind of give your alien creature personality. So if you want to be more mad, maybe you do it more like this, right? So then you've got more of an, hold on, let me switch it. So then he's gonna look more angry. But then you'd have to pull a piece down this way too, so your eyelid's not going straight up. And then if you want your alien creature monster to look kind of more sad, then you would like puppy dog ears, then you would put this side down even further and have that side go up, and then do another piece right there, right? So we know that we can tell a lot of emotion in the eyes, right? If you're mad, you kind of have this frown. If you're sad, your eyes kind of droop up way this way. But if that doesn't matter to you, then don't worry about it. Then just go about your business attaching these. I'm not going to score and slip these because I'm going to smooth them in. So I'm not worried about that. So now my person looks a little bit more awake, right? I already kind of smoothed that in. I kind of wanted to move that down a little bit, but it's all right. When you guys do yours, you can make those adjustments. You can also put like a little tiny ball of clay. Little. Right there on the inside, because then that will represent that section right there on your eye. Okay? If you want to. Mine's too big though, so I'm gonna take it out. It's really tiny if you're gonna do that. I keep moving this, so it's messing my clay up. Okay. So then your final step, now remember, this is gonna be on your actual form, so it's gonna look like an eye, where mine just looks like this weird round piece. So now what you're gonna do is you're only gonna pull and smooth in this bottom section and then this top section, right? Because we wanna leave these two areas because we want it to look like the eyelid. So I'm gonna smooth that out. Undo the corner. And then I like to use a paintbrush to kind of smooth that stuff in. Okay, so now I've got this nice eye. Again, you know, I should have adjusted this stuff a little bit more because he still looks a little sleepy to me. But then what you can do is you can go back in and you can just kind of press down, like in this area right here, to make it look like more like an eye socket. And then you can do the same thing on the bottom. And there you go. There's your realistic eye. So again, that would be on the actual form, okay? Now, if you want to do kind of cartoony eyes, then, and also I should say that, you know, the closer you put your eyes together, the more cartoony they're gonna look. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay, so now I'm gonna do like non-realistic eyes. Same process, you know, this is just gonna represent what might be on your form. I'm gonna take a ball of clay, I'm gonna flatten it. This is, yeah, cartoony. And again, guys, size is totally up to you. I'm just gonna make these a little bit larger so you can actually see them, which I should have made these way bigger, but oh well. For those of you that are just joining us, I slip and then score, just because I don't want to have to score twice, because I feel like when you score and then slip, it sort of smooths in the scoring marks, so that's why I do it that way. Okay, so we're laying down the white part of the eyeball. That's what that's going to represent. And then we're going to do another ball of clay that needs to be smaller, ball of clay, and then we're going to just kind of gently squeeze it down. And then I'm gonna smooth it if I need to, because sometimes the edges get cracked, so I'm gonna smooth that out. I just put my finger in some water and I'm just smoothing. Then I'm gonna put some slip right in the middle. Now this part, I should say, you could put it in the middle, you could put it down here at the edge if you wanted to. You could make it look cross-eyed, you know, however you want to do that is fine. I'm just gonna place it in the middle, but you can put it wherever you want. And then I'm gonna flatten this a little bit more. So this, I don't really care for doing eyes like this because I think it looks really elementary, but you can spruce it up. I mean, especially when you glaze it, you know. But, so that would be kind of a cartoony looking eye. And because we're doing aliens and monsters, that could work. But see how far it sits out? So you could do another step and you could do those eyelids over the top of this one too. Me personally, I like to leave this one off and then glaze the pupil on, but I don't know if we're gonna get to that. So if you want an actual separation between the white part of your eye and the pupil, if you want to add a second one, you can. Totally your call, up to you. So yeah, so that is two different ways to do eyes, more realistic and more cartoony. So totally your choice. And then, but you would have done that on the actual form, right? So remember that that background area was your actual animal, alien, monster, okay? Hopefully that's clear enough. All right, so that's the eye video. I'm gonna move on to attaching all of my pieces so that way I can get to that final step of carving. So if you have any questions, just shoot me an email, send a picture with it so I know what you're talking about, and we'll go from there. Thanks, guys.